This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 176, How to Seek Clear Outcomes. Are you a real estate agent who wants to turn your real estate job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, I've created a free jumpstart course for you that's waiting at freeagentgift.com. What is it? Well, it is all of the basic, organized thinking process that any realtor should go through. And I'm talking whether you have your license yet and you want to become this person, if you're a top producer for many years like me and a lot of my one-on-one clients. It's the way to get organized thinking. You have to slow down and think strategically and start to manage your business, not just do your business. So freeagentgift.com gets you started in a very basic, easy to consume way. Top producers don't think you're beyond it, okay? And newbies, you'll need it. I wish somebody put me in a headlock and told me I needed this and gave it to me. Didn't exist. So there it is for you. freeagentgift.com. All right. The episode this week, and again, remember, when I give these TRC episodes, these are really the best tips I can give you in real time from the fact that I am a real broker selling in the field, mostly these days on the sell side, meaning the listing side. And I'll get involved in some of the buy sides, especially with some of my luxury clients that are stressed out. And you're going to see where this all goes today. And also, these are the hot topics of the coaching program. So they all come from reality. This isn't theory. This comes from practicality and many, many years of doing it. And we chunk it up for you each week so that you can have a little tidbit and relate it to what's happening to you, because this is universal. This stuff happens in every and any deal, anywhere, whatever country, Canada, the United States, or wherever you might be listening beyond those walls of those countries. This is for you. Okay. So number one point here, how to tame your client's emotions, right? You have to understand that this is an extremely psychologically stressful transaction that most people go through. And I mean the far majority. I'll argue 9 out of 10 people go through this with some real anxiety or some real worry. Some show it. Some don't. Some have a poker face, but you can imagine that they're all going through it. And I'm talking more about the person that buys for themselves and their own usage. I'm not really speaking to the investor, but the investor gets emotional too because they get overly excited about an opportunity. They start to ignore the numbers. So the emotional runaway, per se, affects everybody. So the first point here is to recognize that. You have to recognize that all of your clients are emotional. That's what we are. We're emotional beings. And again, I know that your bias might be, and your prejudice might be that, and this usually starts in our own insecurity, that, well, that person's really savvy. That person's really smart. They have a PhD. They have an MD. They have an MBA. They have this. They have that. And we make all these excuses that these people are so wildly intellectual and academic that they're not emotional. And we get intimidated oftentimes in doing business with that. And remember, I can tell you this firsthand as a coach. The hardest thing to get people to do, number one, is to take some time to manage this as a business. That's the hardest. And that's rooted in the insecurity of not knowing how to do so. What to do, how to do, right? But when it comes to dealing with people, we are often insecure in the way that we see ourselves. Not everybody. Some people just have that swagger. And they go about it and they're not afraid of anything, anybody, and they're not afraid to make a mistake. But even those people sometimes can rush through just trying to do the transaction and not really considering the emotion they're dealing with. So oftentimes I find people that are just really naturally good at, dragging the client through all the emotional stuff, they don't necessarily leave that person feeling like it was a wonderful transaction. And they don't really leave that person likely to repeat and refer. They get them there and they're proud of what they do, but they don't recognize that there was an emotional trial and tribulation that person went through that might not have left them quite feeling so good. You can get them a good deal, and then you wonder, well, why don't they like me? Well, you really didn't consider their emotions. So point one was recognize that all these people are emotional, just like us, right? 2, okay, now dealing with this, because I'm trying to make these podcasts a little how-to, right? Not just what to, but how to. Connecting to their why and motivational level will reveal to you their pain points. So for me in the coaching program and what we do at the Griffin, especially with telemarketing. So think about telemarketing as one of the very first spots that we get in touch with people on the phone. Now, obviously, as an agent in the field, that could happen at an open house. And I'm talking professional context. Of course, you can bump into somebody in any context of life and you can have a real estate discussion. But I'm just saying where I learned how to organize this thinking the best, to recognize the emotional state and to recognize that finding that emotional state very early on was important, was at the telemarketing point. You see, we're so in a rush to buy leads. And I even have some folks that work with me at the Griffin, a very, very professional couple. And they came to me asking me about leads the other day. And it was a very easy thing for me to say, well, does that type of lead serve your business model? In other words, they were asking about buyer leads. And then you have to go out and run the ad. Does that attract median and above so you can be profitable? So there are a lot of questions, right, that come with the lead level. And when you get that pile of leads, the most important thing is understanding which of those leads are prospectable for you. Okay? What that means is that in any pile of leads, there are going to be, hopefully sellers first for all of you, and buyers as well, that fit your avatar or ideal client. They should be looking to sell or buy in the geography within which you really want to build your business. And they should be at least a lot of those people at or above the median if you want this to be a profitable business, right? So those are two very key things that I adjusted my own book of business over the years. And now I'm well north of the median now because I just kept thinking like that. And so when you look at that situation, all right, now you have these people in front of you. So how do you prospect that person and determine whether they have the emotional stamina to go through this? Well, you first set it up, in my not so humble opinion, by giving away your best what to do information for free. And in real estate, we have that. You can give them a market report on what's happening in that geography so they can get that easy answer statistically, specifically to their question, how's the market? Not these, Zig Ziglar had a great line, why be a wandering generality? Oh, it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market, versus a meaningful specific. Well, the average price went up to $877,000 month over month. The average sold to ask ratio is 98%. So when something's priced right, sellers only giving up 2%. You see, those are meaningful specifics. So by being able to give them your best stuff for free, like a market report, we give them our 7-step what to do plan they could use without us, right? It's what to do as a seller, what to do as a buyer. And then we throw in the specifics. And a lot of you make this mistake. They can get the information themselves online. It's the service business, folks. Go into MLS, curate, meaning go look at it, pull it out, organize it, and package that. The solds for both sellers and buyers. So those are some things that you can give to somebody so that when you go to take the answer away, why, and what motivation level, they're more in a relaxed state where they're actually going to probably reveal their emotions in a truthful way. Let me go back and say, when we learned at the telemarketing forefront or the open house forefront, because we do it in the same way, but one's already physically in somebody's face. I just did one. I'm fresh off of one in Boston this weekend, and I'm telling you, this is exactly what I do. And it allows me to find from these people what their emotional state is. So now, after that offer of information has been given, the law of reciprocity relaxes them. We gave, and they don't have to do business with us. So they feel like, this is a professional situation. Maybe I am with a pro. Hey, by the way, why were you thinking about buying a property like this? I asked this weekend. And I hear, well, I live out in the suburbs and my girlfriend works at Mass General Hospital. I work at MIT and we're a little bit out of the city and we're just thinking that this makes sense. Okay, that sounds like a reasonable why. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? Well, I'd have to sell my house first or liquidate some stock. So I'm probably an 8, but I like this place. So, let me think about it this weekend, what I would like to do. So now I know that they're there. And I can see and this was a real gentleman, I'm giving you a real case that just happened 24 hours ago, right? Or less. And I could see this very mature thinker. And I could feel that the emotions were there in his relationship, right? I could feel like he wanted something, they wanted something together. Well, there's the emotion involved. It's a relationship. So here I have an MIT professor, extremely intelligent, expressing really all of these concepts in a very highly emotional, intelligent way. But I could still feel the underlying emotion of the relationship and doing the right thing for that. A lot of people that meet each other, that are successful, especially own their own properties, those are their own in their own previous lives before each other. They're trying to get to that point where they want to live together and have their own thing together. And that's a potential pain point, right? That's a pain point. So I want to pay close attention to helping him evolve in the direction to solve that potential pain point around his personal relationship. I'm not saying he ever lost it emotionally about that, but I now see, okay, this is a prospectable situation. I can add value here. So I made very certain that I sent him away with property information. Now, whether or not I'm able to turn him into a buyer client beyond the property, I don't know. But I began, without being wildly attached to the situation, I began to get there. Now, let me go back to another situation where one of my sellers went under contract and is a savvy builder and really, quite frankly, savvy negotiator. Sometimes he gets emotional and I let him have his space and he comes back to it because I won't list properties where there's not a real why. I just won't do it anymore. I won't. And I know he had a real why on the previous property, but when we got to this one, it was up and it was down. And, I think it was taking advantage of the market because he thinks like this. And one of the things that I think he and his wife didn't really think through was, how do we feel about moving out of the house where we actually raised our kids? Now, we've been renting it, but there's a lot of emotional attachment, and we really have taken it a little too casually about where we're going next. Because, albeit great for the sale, it's a tight buy. And I am telling you, 2 weekends ago, it was the most difficult emotional negotiation that I've been involved in years. It required all of the best of me. And so what I did was reconnect them to why they're doing this. That's it. And I was under the gun. I'm telling you, you have no idea. The buyer was about to walk at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I was able to finally get my seller to understand this panic attack over a date, which was only now 6 business days away, was absurd. But how do you do that? You have to keep reconnecting them to why they're doing this and what's in front of us, that this is a really aggressive number that the buyers are offering because the market is very strong and they're cash. And they know they're not going to beat this house up in a home inspection. None of that's going to happen. So it's a good deal, but they're serious about walking because they can't go back and forth with their own emotions and their own travel. 7 o'clock at night. At 7:47, after it's agreed to, I get another text, deal's off, pull the house off the market, like an extreme reaction. Because what happened at home is what happened at home after that. Now, I'm not privy to everything, but I get it. And I said, look, relax. I'll see you in the morning. And did we see each other in the morning? At 6:30 in the morning, I'm thinking I owe this couple the best of me. So I am up. I am looking for rentals because the panic attack was where we're going to go. We don't like anything we're buying. We were up and I had blasted out 260 agents and I'd done what I was supposed to do. The pain point was high. It was now moving and they had told us they had a place to move and they made light of it and it wasn't the case. So we became extremely resourceful. Good thing is the marketplace within which this was taking place, it's small. I've been in it for 21 years, even before that for probably 10 as an investor. So I knew all of the best resources and agents that I said, look, I'm not seeking a fee. Please take care of him when you show him this one, right? Or that one. And we came up with, in 12 hours, a solution. And we've still been navigating that emotion along the way because it's still going to be difficult for these folks to move out of this property, right? We know because behind the scenes we're finding a little bit more that there is emotion, okay? And so we just keep connecting to this, and we I look at right before the podcast on my phone. I'm holding it up if you're watching the YouTube or the Facebook recording. On my phone, I was texting my two team members, my client care manager, Laura, my telemarketer, Kathy, saying we need to go in and look at another batch of these houses for purchase that's lower, where he could add on, where he could tear down. We just won't stop. We are relentless in playing a role in helping bring them down. And that's the third point here. You see, we're offering and educating our clients about logical solutions. That's what we're doing. And I was logical with him. I said, look, you gave me 12 hours to solve the problem, and that's it. I'm all over it. Here's the evidence. Here are all the emails that went out. Here are all the responses I have. Here are all the properties. You're already talking to one of these gals that you found yourself, and I've already called her to make sure she takes good care of you. And if you can upgrade from there, good. And we're going to keep looking. We're not going to stop. You know us. So we continue to offer and educate the clients about these logical solutions. Because if people in an emotional state or in a highly emotional charged state feel for 1 second that you have stopped and you are counting your money off of that check, if they feel that for 1 second, you're dead and you've let them down and you're not your best. So we are going to work this deal and work this deal and work this deal until these people are completely into the next solution, which might include renting a property for a year. That's on the table. And there's going to be a decision made right after the purchase and sales is signed. They're going to probably rent a property, and then we're going to go on the hunt for something as more opportunities come forward. Or maybe not. We're going to solve something sooner than later. But we're not going to stop offering and educating our clients about logical solutions, non-emotional, black and white. Here is what's available. Here's what we're doing. Drive by this one, go see that one. And that's what we're doing, right? So lastly, this is about you. And it goes back to the anecdote when the clock was ticking and everybody was putting me under the pressure to solve the emotional situation. And I did. But it would have been very easy to throw a tantrum myself. Very easy, right? And my fourth point here today is don't bail out when the tension hits its peak. So many agents run and hide the minute their client is having one of these emotional moments. And it's led to a lot of you going out and overpromising, especially a seller, what you can do, offering a number that's not even remotely rooted in reality, and not being able to get it done. And then they're getting emotional. And then you're running away and you're not really giving them the local feedback. And you're saying, well, we need a price reduction. Well, why? Why? When you started, were we out of line with the evidence? What happened? See, that's why going back to those logical solutions, and hopefully you're learning something from me along the way, evidence about what the market is really bearing and how that compares, and having somebody walk through the emotions of the reality of the moment. That helps you not bail out if you get attached with these meaningful specifics. Here we go again. Meaningful specifics. Oh, it's a buyer's market, or it's a seller's market. Let's go. No. It's always an opportune time for a buyer who needs to buy to find something in that context that fits their need. Always. There is always a time to sell your property if the opportunity arises where you need to or want to do so. It's our job as the real estate agent in the middle to provide this logic, this data. And it's when I say data, I'm not talking for you all to become data scientists. I'm just saying it's in the MLS. It's straightforward. Be a good guide and stop bailing out every time you sense there's an emotion. And that means taking the listing at the wrong price, because you won't lean back in and tell somebody that what they're hoping for is unreasonable, because you have a mentality of scarcity. You're attached to the outcome too tightly. The crazy thing, I learned this from a lot of these Shaolin monk trainings that I listen to on YouTube to try to understand the mindset. You see, we are so attached to the outcome that we're so emotional that we blind ourselves away from the logic we could deliver. And we're attached to that outcome so white-knuckled that we make too many mistakes. If you can detach yourself from the outcome by really just being completely and thoroughly honest with the reality of what's happening in the marketplace, you're going to draw that thing in that you're so much trying to pull towards you. It will come to you magnetically if you stay to the logic and you stop bailing out every time you get emotional because you don't know the right answer or you haven't learned it yet. All right. So let me go back and summarize the points. How to tame your client's emotions. It'll end with you. But first, you start off by recognizing that all of your clients are emotional. It's just a matter to what degree. Second point, connecting them and you to their why they're buying, why they're selling, and their motivation level to do so on a scale of 1 to 10 will reveal to you and them, really, their pain points. What are they afraid of? What are they worried about? What's sticking them from or having them get stuck from being able to get to the next level? Third, you have to keep offering and educating your clients about logical solutions, right? Logical. Just be logical with them. Don't get caught up in their emotion. Keep them to the why and their motivation. Have them see what it will feel like at the outset when they're successful, and keep providing logical solutions because it's a process, not an event. And lastly, please don't bail out when the tension hits its peak. Let me summarize it this way. One of the key skills to becoming a successful real estate agent is your ability to manage your clients' emotions. Buying and selling real estate is one of the single largest emotional transactions they will ever make in their lifetime. No matter how sophisticated they may appear to be in their personal and professional lives, they will certainly battle and struggle with emotional swings during a real estate transaction. So, be prepared to stay calm and provide logical, simple solutions and never, ever give up on them. All right, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free, simple business plan that's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also broadcast our live telemarketing training calls on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 p.m. EDT. So get over there, turn on those little bells and whistles and channel notifications for the Realty Classroom, and you won't miss the reminders. We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you would share this content with other real estate agents just like you so that they get the help that they need. Now, remember this, I sign off the same way every time. Nobody is coming for you. Nobody. So go get to work on your business and a good strategy and plan for it. And we will see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks for listening.